Hello, welcome to my channel Beyond the Sewing Room. I'm Diane and today I'm sharing a sew along for the Croissant bag from Burda September. So that's this month's Burda if you're watching as I put this video out. Now I did share this magazine in my last video and I said I'd be making the Croissant bag, and it's this one right here. Now I'm not doing it in a plain fabric, I'm doing it in something quite wild, so I'm using up fabric that I already have. So I'm using this one, so it's a cotton sateen. Now it is good for using up bits if you want to use up bits on this bag, because you don't have to do the strap in the same colour as the main body of the bag. So you could have a go at this with some fabrics that you've already got. So you can sew along with me today if you've got some fabrics lying around and you want to have an experiment, and you can also use different fabrics on the inside to give it some body. So you could back it with something else that you've got that's a bit more stable if you want to use a lightweight fabric. You can also use up pieces of interfacing to back pieces. Now that's what I've done. So I've cut my pieces, I'm going to show you that in a moment, and I've also interfaced the back of the pieces. And on the inside pieces of the bag I've used some linen pieces that I had left as well, just to make it a bit thicker. And all of this will give your bag more sort of strength and stability. If you use something really lightweight, it'll be really floppy. So I do suggest you either interface it or back it with something a bit stronger if you're using a lightweight fabric. If you're using canvases or denims, it will have more body about it anyway. So we're going to make that today. The instructions in the magazine are very basic for this bag, I mean really basic. So I'm just going to make it up and you can watch how I do it and join in if you want. So let's do that now. So I'm holding the camera in my hand, so forgive me if it's a little shaky, but I just wanted to get in to show you. We have our pattern pieces on sheet D. So each sheet is marked at the top like this with a letter, and it tells you in the pattern instructions which sheet your pieces are on. And for this particular pattern, for the bag, the Croissant bag, they are all marked in black and they are on sheet D. So there are other pieces marked in black, so don't get confused with these, but we want pieces 21 to 24. Now if you look at the bottom here and then follow it up, you can easily find where each piece is. So 21 is here, look, and I've marked it with a little star. Usually I go over it in a thicker pen as well. So there's 21. We also have 23 and 24. And if you look at the bottom, there's 24, and directly above it is piece 24. But generally, if you just follow the line up like this and look for the number and the colour, you will find it. So we want to trace off those pieces from this pattern sheet. So here I've cut out my pattern pieces for my bag. Now I'm using up some fabric that I already have, like a leftover piece. This is my first run at this bag, so I thought I'd try it in this. It's quite loud but nice, and maybe not an everyday bag, but I'm going to try it in this first of all. And I've got lining to match this as well, fortunately. So these are bits I'm using up. So this one, piece number 22, you cut it on the fold like this, and you cut it double. So you cut 2 on the fold like this, and you mark these pleat markings. And then also on the fold, you cut 2 of this one for the strap, and these are fold lines here. And I'm also going to use some interfacing on the back of both pieces of the strap as well. And I may even add some more fabric behind it to make it a bit stiffer, because it says use some fabric with some stability, and this is quite thin. So I'm going to interface the back of these pieces, and I may also use some canvas behind it as well before I line it, just to give it a bit more strength. So 2 of those on the fold, 2 of this one on the fold, 2 of this one, piece number 21, also on the fold. And you note these markings here. It's got a little cut out just there. This is the lining pieces. You cut this in lining, 2 pieces on the fold's there. Now because I didn't have quite enough of one straight run of that, I've cut this as 2 pieces and then I've done a join, but like I said, I'm going to do some backing for it and also some interfacing to make it stronger. So that's our pieces for now. So first of all, on our outer bag body, we've got this piece and it's got these markings here for these pleats. So we want to make these pleats first of all. So if you look in the direction of your arrows, this one here is going to here, like this. So if you bring that across, straighten that up a little because my notch is not quite matching. Pin that in place, and then look, we have the next one. So that's the first one, and then we have this one going to here. So you bring in these markings together in the direction of the arrow. And then what we're going to do is we're going to baste across the top here. And then this one goes to here. And then finally, this one to the edge. So now I'm just stitching across the top of that to keep all those pleats in place. Now sew your inside bag piece to your outside bag piece, and you've got this wrong side to right side of fabric. So here's my outer one and here's my inner one. So that's why I said before you could use a different fabric for this. You don't need to use your best fabric because that's behind it anyway. We're going to sew that in place along the top to keep it in place. You can sew it along the bottom to secure it as well if you wish. Oh, I'll just mention that when I came to attach this outer bag to the inner bag, I adjusted my end pleat slightly because I found that I'd taken it over a little bit too much. I don't think the markings were clear on the pattern, so you might need to do this as well. So it's just the end one. So just where I basted it at the top, I released it a little bit and just allowed a little bit to fall outwards. So quick fix, but you might need to do this as well. So don't panic if it doesn't fit, you just need to adjust the end pleats just ever so slightly. Now change to your zipper foot and sew your zipper in. Now I'm using a reused zip from an old bag that got thrown away a while ago that was no good anymore, and I always like to save the zips. So this was in my tin, so I already had this. So you've got your zip the right side down and the fabric the right side up. I'm going to sew it on both sides. Now you're going to sew around the curve. So right side's facing, you're going to sew around this curved part. So 1 centimetre seam for this. Now fold in the edges of your straps where marked like this on both sides, and I've also added the interfacing at this point. Then if you put them together like this, so press both sides in where it's on the fold marks, put them together, and then we're going to stitch down each side. Now it states if you want to knot it, do so now before attaching it to the bag. I think you need to make the strap quite a bit longer than this if you want to knot it, otherwise you end up with a very short strap. So I'm not going to knot mine. Now sew your straps on either end here at these short edges. It's like this on the outside. Now all this is going to be hidden with our lining on the inside. Now I've cut a couple of extra pieces of my main fabric because on my lining I'm going to make some pockets now. So here's my lining piece. So just on the inside I'm just going to create a pocket just like this on the inside, just so that it's somewhere to put my phone. So I'm just going to sew these two together all the way around and then just stitch it on, leave the top open. Now place your lining right side facing right side to the bag at the zip, and then with your zipper foot you're going to stitch along the top of each lining piece, attaching it to your zipper. Now turn the whole thing to the inside so that you can close up the curve on your lining, but I would suggest leaving an opening at the bottom so that you can pull it back through again, and then these top bits we're going to close after. At either end where the straps finish, to attach it to the lining on the inside, I'm just doing it with a few hand stitches because I just find it easier, because I've interfaced it and backed it. It's made it really thick at these points to go under the machine, so I'm just finishing it off here at these small areas with some hand stitches. So here you can see there is a pocket inside mine, and I'll show it you. So here it is finished. So without the knots in, this is where it hangs. If you had the knots in, it was more of a handbag, literally, that you would carry in your hand. So if you wanted to have it this sort of length and with the knots in, make the straps long enough to be able to knot them, because you need to do it before you attach it here. So the strap is quite thick, so if you want it narrower, that's something else to bear in mind. Now I've just packed it full with some fabric just to show you the effect of it. So it's quite a decent size. You can easily fit your good sized purse, some makeup, your phone, some other things in there. So I hope that was useful for you. What do you think? Would you be having a go? So it's quite cute, and it's a different shape to the bags that I usually make. I do like the pleated effect of it, and it's quite roomy, and if you want to make it bigger, you just enlarge the pattern pieces. So depending on what size you want, just scale it up. So you could do that on a photocopier, or just do that by hand really. Once you've got the idea of the shape, it's pretty easy to recreate it. So, and it's easy enough to add the pocket if you want to do that. So I'll just take this fabric out so I can show you. So you've just got the pocket inside for your phone there, which I've added to it. But I would say with the lining on the inside, I'm probably going to hand stitch it down a little bit away from the zip so that it's not rolling against the zip and then catching when you're opening and closing it. So that's something I sometimes do when I make bags. So please let me know if you enjoyed it, if you're going to have a go at this pattern, and let me know in the comments below. Thank you so much for watching today. Remember to like and subscribe. Bye for now.